So, while Spidey sits there and has his beer, we're staying active and we're going to try and find as much stuff as we can. If you haven't got any kit at home, you've just seen me find a load of stuff from home, out in the garden, out in the house. We're going to have a quick look at them. First and probably the most useful resource you have is going to be your rucksacks. Yeah, any sort of rucksack that you've got. They've got shoulder straps, which means you can put them onto your back and use them for things like squats. They've got handles and straps that you can use to row. If you've got a couple of them together, they've often got the little neck straps that you can put something through and use them as an equal weight on both sides. Or even things like normal suitcases. Even though they've got wheels, they've still got handles, you can still put things into them. Finding stuff we can put stuff into is going to allow us to add weight and take stuff away so we can get the intensity right. Shopping bags. Yeah. Some of these things have been storing up over the years, really nice and durable. You can put a lot of stuff in there. And again, they've got handles that's going to allow you to thread things through and strap on to create bar type effects, or even just do single arm work. So, trying to find some sort of container or carrier as well. So if you haven't got rucksacks and stuff available, here's a crate that I found in the garden. I can put stuff into that, use that to pull or use that to carry stuff around, hold underneath, and I could do some squats with that, holding that in front of my chest. Similarly, things like your wash baskets, exactly the same. Not quite as sturdy, but you need to be mindful of how much weight you put into them. But again, I can carry them, I can hold them, and so I can do a lot with them. If, like me, you've ever pinched a shopping basket, little quick advert for Asda, you've got some handles that you can hold with both hands or single hands. Mop bucket. Now I've got two containers I can load up relatively evenly. If I've got a set of scales, I can make it absolutely accurate. These are two protein bottle tubs that are empty, so I can use these as a container to put stuff into and load them up, which means they could either go into a bag, or similarly, because of their shape, their size, I can use them myself for single side. I've also got a plant pot here. It's a plastic one. Okay, you might find you've got one of these in the garden. If they're things that you're looking to throw away, this is a good opportunity to be a bit inventive with it. So although this has got holes in, so I can't fill it up with water, I can put rocks and stuff in there. What I could also do is drill a hole through there, through the other side, and now I can slot them onto the end of a bar. Now I have a fixed weight, and actually they might swivel quite nicely for things like cleaning presses as well. And I could do something similar with these. Putting a hole through the top is going to allow me to put a broom handle or something through there. It's going to give a bit of swivel, which could allow me to do some sort of clean and presses on that style action. Something like this as well, if I'm putting a couple of holes through, threading some rope, tie it across so you've got a loop and you've got a handle just on one, hey presto, I've got a kettlebell. Speaking of kettlebells, speaking of other containers, this is a 5 litre bottle of water. It already comes with a handle for me to be able to use for a swing. I've lost the lid on mine, so I won't be using this as a kettlebell, and it's got water out of it because earlier I spilt it. But yeah, I can use this as a load, I can use this as a weight, or even use this as a kettlebell. It's time to be inventive. I'm going to put this in here in case it does spill. This is where we get super inventive with stuff. First of all, my table. It's an old table, so I don't mind too much if it gets scratched or damaged. This is the time when I'm going to get more use out of it. Firstly, I can use this again like any other carrying thing, putting stuff onto it. Secondly, what I can also do is actually with this one, because it's face down, I can use this to push across the room. It's got a smooth bottom, which is going to give it a nice movement onto there, and you can load it up like a prowler. We're going to be doing a bunch of different workouts that you can do from home to how to use some of these bits of kit, but right now it's being able to find some bits of kit. Lastly, on the container side of things, is actually an old duvet sheet that I found in the airing cupboard from the previous owner. You can tell from the lovely design that's on there. But what it is going to allow me to do is, always if you can find the end for it anyway. With the duvet sheets, you know when you've taken the washing out and everything somehow just gets into the duvet covers. It always ends up inside, and it's a pain in the backside to try and actually get everything out because it becomes quite heavy. Well, now's the time that we can actually use that. I'm presuming this is a yeah, I think it is. Yeah. So now we can actually start to use that. I can fill this up with things, so I can use this as a weight. I can hold on to it quite tight. Because it's quite wide, I can put some things in one corner, some things in another corner, and hold the middle, so I don't even need a bar. All I need is my duvet sheet. Load up one corner, load up the other corner, keep the other side wrapped in tight, and then I can use that to push out of. What I can also use this duvet sheet for, because I'm not interested in this, I can tie a big knot onto the end of it, thread it through the top of the door, and those of you that haven't got a TRX at home, I can now use this, although it's only one side, but maybe I can split both ends and hold them and use this to pull myself up against, or use it as a little bit of extra support on there. We have got another clip coming about how to do a makeshift TRX at home, but if you need to, they're about 20 quid off of Amazon. Cool, so once I've got things that I can put things into, I then need to start finding different things, different loads that are around the house. So this is an old speaker. This speaker doesn't work. It's not overly heavy, but it's got to be at least 2 kilos worth of weight onto there. Paint tins as well. If you've got any old ones, you can fill them up with water. Oh, kettlebell. Little tip though, make sure that you strap the top down well so you don't get covered in paint if you do end up going up quite high onto there. Okay. Find anything possible. This is a part of a block of a sleeper log that I've got in the garden. This is now also going to double up if I need it as an extra step, or something that's going to give me the extra elevation because of how deep that is. Now that's further away, so I can get into the legs a little bit more. Just gives me that bit of extra height. But never underestimate the brick. Nice equal distributions of weight. If you've got a number of these, you can put an equal number on each side. The other thing that these things are useful for is actually I can build these things up so that if I'm laying down onto my back and I've got my, let's say I've attached this onto my body pump stuff, that can now sit there and I can use that to rest everything on. Just makes things a bit easier to get under. There'll be a clip coming shortly about with an example of that. It's an old car battery I found in the garage. And a coping stone. So it's really about just trying to be as inventive as possible about the stuff that we've got around. Here's a couple of old pieces of wood. This is going to be perfect to use as a bar for me to thread through a couple of different bags, which I can strap on with some gaffer tape to make sure things stay nice and sturdy. Or even still, it's a little bit of old banister rail that I've got. I could drill a couple of holes through there, put some bits of rope through each end, and hey presto, I've got some little handles hanging off of that. And actually it's quite a nice little grip on there. Perfect. To be honest, the duvet sheet idea was a last minute idea, so we're now going to have a quick look. You're going to learn this the same time as I'm going to learn this, about how we can turn this into a usable weight. So what I've done to start with is I've laid out the duvet cover. I've used a 5 kilo weight just out of ease, but obviously if you're using any of the other items we talked about, all I've done at the moment is stuck them into the corners so I know how wide it is. Then I need to know what I actually want is I'm going to hold it about here in distance. Okay, So I want to bring in this end, and shorten it up a touch. Yeah, until they're roughly where my hands are going to be, so they're going to hang each side of my hand. I guess I'm just going to tie off that end. So you're learning this the same time as I am. This just makes sense to me at the moment. And I'm going to tie off that end. Fab. Cool. So now I've got them sitting roughly at the right position for my hands. What I now need to do is round it up. Number of times. Okay. If you want to make sure that you've still got enough thickness for your hands, wrap it more in the centre. Okay, so if it wraps all the way up, what I just found there, because it can bunch up quite thick. So that's about my hand width there, that's fine. This, I actually want that to be around there, the rest of it can kind of go into the middle. And hey presto, I've now got myself a duvet pump set. Not everyone has an actual bench that you can do or use at home, so we've now got to be really inventive with what we can do, how we can do it. My initial favourite, you might have seen where at the start, I grabbed a lilo. It's just a single lilo that actually I can lay onto, and it just gives me that extra bit of elevation away from the floor, so that my elbows aren't hitting the floor and I can get a good, I mean, it's okay if your elbows touch the floor, just you can get a little bit more movement into there. So something like a lilo was my first choice, my first preference. Not that I've tried this one yet. Maybe, I'm sure if I put a blanket or something to give that a little bit more comfort, I can work off of there. Failing that, here's that lovely table again, but actually I'm going to use this as a table for me to lay on and work on. Just remember that whatever surface you do try to lay on, try and give yourself some cushioning for the head as well, even if you kind of need to build up a bunch of duvets or something for your head to get supported, because we don't want that dangling off the end or you having to strain to hold your head up. Let's have a try. Perfect. I'm happy with that. So another thing that a lot of people are saying is, this is all very well, I've got a good amount of space, I could put a good bar's width in there and work from there, but not a lot of people have that kind of space around them. It's also going to be challenging trying to find an equal weight to put onto each side for those sort of balance-based exercises. So here's a quick little tip for you. If you are finding that you've only got one weight that's a good weight to use, try a single-sided action. Something like the back track. I can do a single arm row, single arm clean and press with that action, and then I can repeat the track. So stop it, go back to the start of the track, do it again, but on the other side. You're actually going to get more of a workout because your core is going to massively be engaged from working just one side and having to stabilise, and you're going through those movements twice. Do make sure that if you are using one side, we've got to be really careful about how much we're twisting, how much we're leaning. Okay, a lot of this we haven't talked about the technique side of things. This is just the equipment and how we can modify some of what we're doing. It might also be a case of, sorry Spidey, If I haven't got benches and stuff, being able to use something like the couch and working just on one side from there. When we're talking about dips, if I haven't got steps, I can use my couch for there. And if I'm looking at things like deadlifts, I can use my, I'm not going to because I've got a lot of expensive stuff on there, but I can use that to lift up, pull down. I can use my sofa to lift up and move. We've got to get inventive with this stuff. Use a good day, 2 days, go around the house, explore, find what you need, find what you don't need, look for containers, look for heavy objects, and start to get inventive with a few things. If you find some stuff, post it online. If you don't know what to do with it, say, hey, I've got this, what can I do with this? We can help, or maybe someone else has got a great suggestion too. I hope you find that useful. I think Spidey's passed out now, and enjoy your workouts.